Mind over matter is magic. I do magic. Mind over matter is magic. I do magic. You think of that? Mind over matter is magic. I do magic.
Welcome to Mind Over Matter, baby. I'm your host, DEJA Wallace, and if this is your first time joining me, welcome. If this is not your first time joining me, shouts out to you. I appreciate you. You real. You loyal. Shouts out to you. Shouts out to you. I appreciate you for real. Like, it really means a lot. The first episode of 2023 for all my day ones. If you really see me on this grind to reach this episode, Big 52, thank you. And let's get right into it. And if you're not a day one, still shout out to you. I appreciate you for tuning in. If this is your first episode, shouts out to you. Thank you. And if this is your first episode, like really think about it. Episode 52, you know how much episodes I did before this? If you listen to every single episode and binge watch Mind Over Matter once a week, it will take you a whole year. That's what you call consistency. Shout out to Mind Over Matter for consistency too. Shout out to everybody. For real. For real. New year, new beginnings. Same me though. Same me. New year, same me. But this year, doing it big for Mind Over Matter. Like, big things are going. And yeah. Oh, before I even get into the breakdown of this episode, let's really look around. Views. I'm outside for all my audio listeners. Listen to the birds chirping. The leaves rustling. The flowers blooming. The melanin popping. I'm really outside. I'm not in New York City. I'm really outside. For my audio listeners. Just for my audio listeners. I'm in Jamaica. That's what this episode is going to be about. Kick back, relax, and enjoy this episode. On today's episode, I will be talking about what I've learned from my trip in Jamaica, re-engineering your mind, and the power of perspective. So I'm going to break all of that down in today's episode. You get me. If you get me, you get me. So where do I start? Where do I begin? From my childhood. I feel like that's just a solid place to always start from your childhood because that's where you're basically programmed. And from the age of 0 to 7 is when you learn most of your ideas and behavioral skills that you carry as an adult that a lot of us don't acknowledge. Like when you go to therapy, they always want to unpack your childhood. And it's a reason they go back to your childhood because they want to get a better understanding. When you understand your past, you're able to see where you're going in the future. Or you're better able to create your future when you understand your past. If you get me, you get me. But yeah, all of that being said, I was brought up in an American Jamaican household with the two cultures. Beautiful cultures, both of them. Both of them have its pros, both of them have its cons, but let's really dissect it. Because I'm in the process of re-engineering my mind to becoming the person I want. And having the mind I want is the first step to becoming the person I want. And for you too. But let me break down what re-engineering your mind is before I even get into it. Re-engineering your mind is basically having the ability to go back into your habits, into your everyday behaviors and pinpoint what is holding you down and what is holding you back and what is not making you be the best version of yourself, and then changing that and replacing it with something positive to then enhance your life, enhance your perspective and your experience and your overall mindset. So it's just changing your mind, to make it simple, changing your mind, re-engineering your mind to, I can't use the word to explain the word. It's basically having the ability to change your habits to become the person you want to be. When I speak about myself, you should also take away stuff as this from Mel. It's not me being selfish. It's just me like trying to understand life right now. But yeah, what I learned from this trip, I learned a lot, but I'm going to break it down right now. What I learned from Jamaican culture is that Jamaicans are a very positive people. When you think of like Bob Marley music, reggae music, just conscious reggae music, it's all, the words in the music is very intentful, is very conscious, it's set in a way that speaks life. And I feel I'm blessed to be brought up in this culture because I feel like it predisposes me to be a positive person. Positivity is not something that's far fetched. It's something that's very realistic and it's very attainable and it's abundant. Negativity should not be normalized. Stop normalizing negativity and re-engineer your mind to have a positive outlook on life. And it's like the main priority that most Jamaicans strive for is just being happy. And you could feel that in the people, you could feel that in the spirit. And that kind of, like, even when I think of like people like DJ Khaled, who's not Jamaican, but like when you think about his whole persona, his whole act, it's like he's speaking life all the time. He's always positive. He's a very positive person. And he's someone that really, really, really loves the Jamaican culture, because that's one of the main things I noticed here is that people are always speaking life. People are always just positive. And I'm grateful I was brought up in that environment. One thing I did notice too is that even like when I'm listening to the radio in the car, like it's positive vibes. Like the people are like, welcome to another day. And you're always constantly hearing that in the news. Well, not the news. I'm capping. I'm lying. Don't quote me on that. Please don't quote me on that. But like a lot of the programming is uplifting, positive. And what I noticed, well, with my American side now, the American culture I was brought up in, it contradicts that. American culture focuses on materialistic things as if that will get you your happiness, and happiness is something secondary in American culture. And that's like the biggest thing I've learned while being out here is that American culture focuses more on individualism, selfish gain, selfish ambition, while Jamaica focuses more on like, what can we do as a culture? What can we do as a nation? What can we do as a community? And that those two different ways of thinking has really like opened my eyes up more to like, I have the choice, the power to choose which perspective I want. And that's really what re-engineering your mind is, choosing which perspective you want to choose. You learned a lot of things as a kid. Some things stand out more than others. And you have the power to choose which perspective, which ideas you want to carry on as an adult. Because a lot of the times when we don't know what to do, when we feel lost, we just do what we feel like is familiar for us. And that can stunt your growth. If you're just doing the same thing, you don't grow. And that brings me to another big lesson I learned while being out here is that American culture really focuses on perfectionism. And why that could be very detrimental, because perfection is an illusion, it's not real. And perfection is also subjective. When you think something is perfect, there's always room for improvement. No matter how perfect you think something is, it can always be better. And why that's detrimental to your mental health is because it makes you feel like it basically fuels you to procrastinate. Now you don't want to do something because it's not perfect, or you're not in the perfect, you don't have the perfect circumstance to pursue what you want to do, which is actually crazy to me that people actually think like this. I think like this sometimes too, because like I said, I'm still in the process of re-engineering my mind, but I didn't want to record. Why? Because I didn't have a microphone. And it's like you stunt yourself from growing when you think like that. I don't have a microphone, but I have a phone. You see, I have a microphone on my phone, but what American culture does is it basically caters to your complacency. And that's why I encourage everybody to travel more. That's episode 3 of Mind Over Matter. You could go back, listen to that. But yeah, it's important to travel because you get out of your everyday routine, your everyday habits, and you go back into it with more clarity and a newer perspective on what you were doing before that you wouldn't have noticed if you were just continually doing it. Perfectionism is really what is stunting a lot of people my age growth, because they want everything to be perfect right now. They don't want to grow. You can't grow and be perfect at the same time. If you get me, you get me. Oh, another big lesson I learned while being out here is it's okay to just be. It's okay to just be. Just be. And let me get more into that. When I say it's okay to just be, it's okay to just not have to keep producing something to show to people and broadcast to people. It's okay to just be. You don't always have to be showing people the work you are doing. Do the work for yourself. Do the work because it's something you want to do. You could just wake up and do what you want to do. You have that. If you have that perspective on the world, that's your reality. The biggest yeah. You like my accent? That's how you know I've been out here. Dirty, yeah. Dirty, yeah. The biggest dirty. Yeah, I've been out here for a minute, guys. You hear the accent. But yeah, the biggest dirty lesson I learned while being in Jamaica is this truck, you need to go. Biggest thing I want to unlearn from my culture, the American culture I was brought up on, is that I have to continuously be productive to show other people. You don't have to show other people your work. Do your work in silence. That's the best way to do it. And when you know you're ready, in your heart, your soul, your mind, then you can introduce that work to other people. When you know it's finished, you don't have to present something just to be relevant. That's what I learned. Like, with this social media age, we feel like we always have to be relevant. We always have to be posting. We always have to be productive and showing people our productivity. But that can make us show our work prematurely before it's actually finished and it's before it's where we want it to be. So that's the biggest thing I'm trying to unlearn, is that I have to constantly be productive and show people my productivity. You don't have to show nobody what you're doing. Do it for yourself. Do it because it makes you happy. Simply just be. Just be. Work for yourself. Do what makes you happy. And yeah, that's the biggest thing I learned, is that I don't feel pressured to have to constantly produce things while I'm here. I'm just here living, being. And if I end up doing something cool, I end up doing something cool because I wanted to. I don't feel like I have to do it to keep up with something, to keep up with the image. If you get me, you get me. But yeah, those are like the main things I learned. And why I'm even sharing with you guys is because, like I said, I'm on this process of re-engineering my mind. And when you're able to re-engineer your mind, you're able to change your perspective. So that's why I had to break down how I was brought up, because how you was brought up is basically how you go about perceiving the world. That's why re-engineering your mind is so important, because a lot of us don't want to do that work and fall into complacency. So re-engineer your mind for the better. And yeah, it's a big journey I'm on. 2023 is about to be a crazy year. It's about to be a blessed year. It's about to be an abundant year. And just proclaim it. Thank you for listening to another episode. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Rate if you're listening through Apple Podcasts. Make sure you rate us down below. And make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend, moms, that it's mind over matter, baby.